today? Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. We are covering a show from someone that canceled. So grab a beverage and we're going to hang out. Hi, babe. Here we go. At least I'm still laughing, right? That's a whole thing. So, yeah. And I just looked at my, I can handle that. Thanks. Um, the second show has not shown up yet on my thing. Gathered Crafter, Carmen, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for participating. Um, because I was dealing with all of this, would you please send me a picture of what you created? Because I was very absent in your show and I apologize for that. So I did throw together a demo. It's something that you all love and I do frequently. So we're going to play with jelly prints because that's my easy go-to and I've taught it 1,000 times. I don't have to think about it. I just grab the supplies and go. So if you have never heard of a jelly plate, I am going to show this while we still have full view camera because it's a little crazy. They are made by a couple of different companies. This is one of the ones that I have. This is a very large one. This is a 9x12. They come in various sizes. You can get them in small shapes. You can get them 5x7, 8x10, whatever size pretty much you can get. They also have a 12x12. They have I think it's a 24x24. I'm not sure. But these Michaels has discontinued these and they have started carrying the Speedball brand. The Speedball brand, thank you, Jane. You do not have to tip me. Y'all, I do this from the kindness of my heart. The Speedball brand is not appropriate for what I'm getting ready to show you. It specifically states on there that you can only use their paints with their plate because the acrylic paint will break down their plate. So if you want to do this, do not purchase the Speedball one. That is not for this project. The other thing I always have is, this is an old book. It was falling apart. It was a library discard. I use it to roll off my brayer. So I always have book pages and collage paper. No paint is wasted around here. It's almost time to get a new one. The other thing you're going to want is basic printer paper. I find the cheaper the printer paper, the better. The higher quality printer papers have a coating on it because to make it the bright white, and it will, it doesn't pull the same as just a basic one. Wait, what'd Jane say? I can't see chat. Yeah. The other thing I like to do is I use grid paper a lot. I use old stationery. Most of this stuff I purchase at Goodwill. It's going to end up in the bin because people don't want to buy this. Another good thing to have is just some deli paper. It's what they wrap your sandwiches in at the deli. One side, I got the unwaxed one, so I don't have to worry about which side I use. I don't know if you can still find it, but just make sure you print on the unwaxed side. The other thing I like to use, and you will see me use it, this is a carpet backing that I got at Dollar Tree. I cut it to the size of my jelly plate, and I use this to create lines on my pages so I can use them for journaling. Most of my journals I use for journaling. They're not gorgeous. They're not printables. They're not all the things that you associate the junk journal kits with. The journals that I do are actual working journals that you can journal in, you can memory keep, you can do art journaling in them, all of the things. So it is very important to me. Thank you, Jane. It is very important to me that you understand you don't have to have all the things to create a junk journal. You can literally create a junk journal from the things that you have in your house, even if you have to dump the cereal in a Tupperware and use cereal box. So there's that. I do have some commercially made stencils. They're easy go-to. I also have a whole file folder of stencils that I made myself. So please bookmark my shows on Tuesday. I do a Tuesday in my art room every week, and I show you how to do all of these things and how to create on a budget. Yes, all the things are nice, but just creating is so good for your mental health, regardless of how you do it. So I'm going to get off my soapbox, and I am going to show you how to do some jelly prints. We probably won't get through a lot, but I wanted to at least show you the basics of it before we raid into Emberly's treasures. Thank you so much for purchasing the ATC. We're going to switch the camera around, and we're going to get my desk. Okay. And gosh, I just realized I'm jelly printing in a dress that I love. We're going to hope we don't get paint on it. Okay. First thing we're going to do is make sure that you can see. When you get your jelly plate, keep this plastic. It is going to give you a place to store it. And I have one. Thank you. I do. I have a really cool apron. I have a number of them, actually, from when I was teaching. I like to leave my backing on so it gives it a little bit of stability. Without the backing, it's just very flimsy. I keep the backing on it. Obviously, I don't clean my plate. Some people prefer to clean it every time they use it. Excuse me. I don't. I'm just going to take off where I left off here. And yes, I'm grabbing my apron. Uno momento, my friends. Here's the thing. I got this dress from Becca, Wild Hope. It is the first time I've ever worn it. And it is one of the few pieces of clothing that I do not have paint on. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Okay, here we go. Apron is on. So we're going to start with this, and I'm just going to show you. If you are new to me, you will soon learn that I love Payne's Gray paints. You can use almost any paint on here. I have never successfully used oil paints. I have used alcohol inks, acrylic paints, watercolor paints, dye-based ink pads, pigment ink pads. If you have color, it can be used on here. There's some tips and tricks to doing all of those things. Today, I'm just going to show you, and that is a lot of paint. So here we go. With this technique, with this, less is better. Trust me on this. I just got way too much paint. I feel like I need to clip my sleeve up into my apron so I don't get that. So you want to keep a translucent. This is way too much paint. So what I'm going to do is, if you get too much paint, it's okay. I'm going to take my book, and I'm just going to get some of this off by pulling and putting it in my book, okay? So paint's not wasted. It's just not on my plate anymore. because that's way too much paint on my book on there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down this grid because I told you I love this grid to create lines to journal on. I'm going to take one of these jellies or one of these deli pages, and I'm going to use my hands. I'm holding this steady so it doesn't slip and slide, and I'm using my fingers to burnish. I want to get down in those spaces and I want to get some paint picked up. You can be very meticulous about it and pick up all of it if you want to. It just kind of depends on the look you are going for. So you can see here that I pulled up dots through this stencil that I've made. I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm in Arizona, and in Arizona it is a dry heat. It is hot, hotter than the gates of hell. I mean, it's like 7 o'clock at night and it's still 100 degrees. So my paint is going to dry quickly. So do not, you want the top paper? Jesse, I get you. So if I'm working through this quickly, please understand that it's because my paint is drying quickly. If you live in a moist area, if you're in Florida where it's humid, then you may have to wait a couple of minutes to go to the next step. Okay. Please just keep that in mind and don't get discouraged with it. If you get a jelly plate, you get discouraged. I am always, always, always open for pulling this out and showing it on my Tuesday shows and saying, hey guys, where's your problem? Co-hosting people, whatever needs to be done. This is so good for your mental health. I can't even begin to tell you how good this is for your mental health because there's no control here. I had no control over what I was picking up. I had a little bit, but I cannot tell you what this is going to look like when we are done. No clue. It's going to be leaves. It's going to be, I don't know. Holy crap, I didn't grab my favorite green. What is wrong with me, girl? We cannot have this. Failure. My favorite green is this green gray. It does amazing leaves. And then put the darker green on it. It's just to die for. I can say that it is very difficult to duplicate something. I actually have duplicated something for a swap, but there was a number of fails in the process. It's not impossible, but it is highly unlikely that you're going to get duplicates. So I'm spreading this again across my plate very thin. It's just, it, most people, their biggest mistake with the jelly plate is they use too much paint. That is literally the biggest mistake people use. Yeah, it's one of a kind art. This is an amazing. Oh wait, Jesse wanted that. We need to grab a different one. Okay, we got this. I'm going to do the same thing. And every time I do this, if you think about your layers, I pulled up some dots. So some of this leaf is going to go through where I pulled up. Okay. And you'll see when it's all said and done, if you think about your layers, I want those lines on the top because when I pull this paint, the top layer of lines is going to be there. My second layer is going to be these leaves. Okay. So there's going to be like a little leafy pattern on here. So now I've just pulled up some of the dots, so I have open space here. But you can see the leaf pattern and it's pretty rockin', right? So I can take this right here. Hi, Tamika. How are you? Y'all are going to get so sick of me today. I can pull this or I can keep layering stencils. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this. I'm going to throw some parchment down. It's just for a background because this is going to be the background. And I know I keep telling y'all, don't get attached to your backgrounds. Do not get attached to your backgrounds. And this is going to be my pull layer. So I'm going to get this covered. Now, those leaves were already dry when I put this down, so I'm not pulling up that leaf pattern. I'm just making sure that I get paint everywhere, because what all this last layer is doing, it is literally activating the paint below. I'm going to take a piece of copy paper. I'm going to lay this down and try to eliminate a little bit of the stuff on my hands and my dress. And I'm going to burnish it. I want to burnish it really well, make sure everything is touching. Now, here's the thing when you're doing this. I know it's nuts. It's getting cold. I can feel it's getting cold to the touch, and I can see the paper is starting to wrinkle. That means that it is attached to my sheet. So I'm going to grab the edge. Oh, and it didn't pull it all up. Oh, yay, we get a second one. And the reason it's not pulling it up is because I got too much of the paint, okay? So this is a whole level of grungy goodness for your junk journals. Right there. That's to die for, right? So what if I don't want to put more paint down? What if I don't want to mess this up, right? I don't want to mess that up because I don't want to lose those leaves. Here's a little trick. You can grab a gel medium, okay? Because I need to activate that because it didn't get activated. So I'm going to just throw down some gel medium. I'm going to spread that around with my brayer. And there's a little bit of paint left on here. I'm not worried about it too much, but I want that gel medium spread over those leaves that did not get pulled. Okay. And here's the thing with this, guys, there's no mistakes. Somebody who has never done this before and is worried about that perfect print may have gone, oh my gosh, it's a mess. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. Wipe the plate off and start over. No, ma'am, don't do that to yourself. Don't. You can always print over it. If you hate it, you can put a second layer over the top. It's okay. Gel medium is magical. I use it for almost everything. So I can pull this back. Dang, it's still not pulling. You know why it's not pulling? Because I had all that dried paint on there from last time and I didn't activate it before we started. Bad girl, because I'm trying to hurry. Because this was not planned. Y'all forgive me. It's not working like it's supposed to. But in the process of it, I'm getting amazing, amazing grungy papers. Ooh. Yep. Thank you. It is, and it's the whole thing is grunge. Oh, shoot. Excuse you. That was rude. Sorry, y'all. This is a translucent color. We'll see if that helps. Sometimes they do. Sometimes you just got to work the plate. And sometimes you just got to make messes, get into where you want to go. Don't give up. It's only paper, you guys. And that's the thing. This paper is so wet. Get it out of here. That's the thing with this is that everything's stuck together. Okay. function tam. Leaves. We'll throw some more leaves down because that's what was on top. I'm going to pull some leaves. Rub it out. Cover that up because I don't want that all over me. Not today. I'm kind of pushing down where I know the leaves are to get into those grooves so I can pull a little bit more of that than I would if I were just trying to put the pattern down, if that makes any sense. Leaves. Now, if this is too much for me, I can do 2 or 3 prints on top of this, or I just have a really cool leaf page to throw in my journal. Either way, it works, right? Either way. I think the most frustrating part of this right now is my sleeve in my way. Thanks, Molly. I literally get caught up in this, and like Rob will come in here and be like, babe, it's 2:00 in the morning. Are we going to bed? And I'm like, oh crap, I'm sorry. One more. And then it's one more. And are you able to do both sides? Absolutely. I usually try to wait until it dries to do the second side, just because so much paint, I don't want it to like rip the paper, because if one side is very, very wet, and then I throw wet paint on it, it's apt to tear. But absolutely, most definitely. And that is how I do a lot of my journal pages, is to have both sides done, which we have a monthly journal or a weekly journal class we do on Tuesdays. And part of the kit was actually getting gel prints as to put pages in your journal. I show you how to bind them in your journals as well as other pages. Thank you. These are some of my favorite stencils. These are my go-to when I'm stressed. I don't know why I would be stressed today or anything, but you know, you get it. Roll that off on this page over here. This is turning out really pretty. I don't know if it's going to pull because, you know, that paint underneath is being a little bit persnickety. And we have about 7 minutes, so dry. If you are in a damp place, I will say this. If you have a hair dryer that has a cold setting, does water reactivate? That's a loaded question. My standard answer is no. However, when I have had a page that has disintegrated on here, I have been known to spritz it with water to reactivate it to get all of that ripped paper off of it. It's not rocket science. It doesn't always work. I mean, I've been doing this for years and I still mess it up. I'm literally just very lightly touching this because I have so much paint on here and it's not drying. So I am just pulling a little bit of this for demo's sake so we can move along. But that's kind of cool too, right? It's a whole thing. Maybe it'll dry a little bit faster now. It gives me 2 seconds to take a drink of coffee. And we're going to, I don't want to do this, but we're going to try it. I'm going to throw some brown on here. It's funny when I do this on the fly. the universe tells me that I need to slow down and pay attention to what I'm doing. And this is one of those moments that it's just like, Tam, you know better than to do a demo without your plate activated from paint that's been sitting on there for 2 weeks. But on the flip side of it, it's good because it shows all of you that this is what you go through. Thank you, Jane. Appreciate you, love. This is what you go through when trying to reactivate once it's been sitting forever. If you don't want to mess with this, by all means, wash your plate after every use. You can rinse it off in warm water. If you use soap on it, I would suggest the Blue Dawn because it has the least amount of additives and chemicals. Don't use anything metal or pokey on it because if you gouge it, it's gouged forever. It doesn't go away. Oh yeah, there we go. This is what we're looking for, my friends. At least I have one that comes out where you just can see all the layers of color. This is where you can see all the layers of color. You can literally see every color that I have laid down here. Every color. Because it even goes back to that Payne's gray that I first put on here. And it layers and layers and layers and layers. And it just keeps layering. You keep putting paint down and you're going to keep getting layers. And that's the fun thing about this. Again, I say, you never know what you're going to get. You just keep throwing paper down and there it is. I pulled most everything. I'm going to throw some of this green gray back down and see what I can pull up. And this is kind of a process of cleaning your plate off to start with a jelly printing session. I would literally have done everything I just did in this demo right here before I started my show. If I would have had more than 15 minutes warning. It's a whole thing. A pure heart. I'm telling you, honey, what? I know you're selling it. Don't you have, no, you don't. I'm sorry. I messed up. You have beautiful stuff that makes me want to steal my husband's welder, and we all know that's not a safe prospect. You're welcome, love. So this is just a nice plain grunge piece of paper. This can actually go in my journal like this. I can put a pocket, I can put a tag. It is, and playing with paint that is out of control is the best thing in the world to do. I'm just saying, because you don't have control over this. That it could be, yes, this could be a journal cover, it could be a page. We've got 1 minute. Freak. Let me do a quick giveaway. This is do I have giveaways in here? I just have regular ATCs. I don't have one of the commemorative ones. Jump in the giveaway. We've got a minute before we raid Chloe. I am going to grab this stack and I'm just going to show you some things. Come see me tomorrow in my show and we will see more. I love printing with plants. Instead of using stencils, I use plants. I'm an herbalist, so that's kind of really close to my heart. See, these are double-sided. Trying to get to the actual, this is plants out of my garden. So basically what I do is everything I just did, but I lay plant matter down. I roll it over and you get the actual outline of the plants on your pages. So this is for like a, this is another one. This is like a secondary one of this one. So we're doing a demo, and I actually did. This is the first one I pulled. Then I pulled this one, and then I pulled this one. So these are the pages that you get from just laying plants down. You don't have to spend a ton of money on stencils. Go forage in your yard. Um, that's a funny question. If I am working in my art journal, my favorite is watercolor. Um, but I do mix media, so I always throw in some acrylic or whatever. If I'm working on canvas, I prefer acrylic. So I bounce back and forth between watercolor and acrylic. So there's that. Um, for this, I just used the generic printer paper. Y'all, we got to go. We are late to raid. Oh my gosh. I'm going to pull this giveaway. Bookmark my show tomorrow in my art room, and we can go over all of this if you want to. Drawing the winner. Da, 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 da. It's my raid train. I can be late, right? Ruby Dew, congratulations, my friend. I will be sending you a inspiration card. We are going to go see my friend Chloe Emberly's Treasures, and then she's going to come back to me. We're going to do a closing show, and we'll do the last giveaway for this card. So thank you all so very much for riding the train. Have a